Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News Channel. Hello, Maverick family and new viewers. Another mass shooting. Well, shooting. At least 3 people dead in Pawtucket, Rhode Island at conflicting reports about how many shot, how many dead. The most up-to-date information that we have here tonight is that 2 people were killed, 3 others critically injured in this shooting at a high school boys hockey game in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. It happened this afternoon. Details still unfolding. And there's also a report that a 3rd person killed possibly the shooter. But as I say, we're getting conflicting information tonight about in these early stages, about how many people have actually been killed. I'm seeing some other things that really need to be confirmed too before I even mention them. So trying to confirm the total number. We're going to go first off to this clip. Where we have this update from officials. Here we go. This from CBS with cameras on the scene.
Later on, we learned that another casualty from the shooting was at the hospital, that they succumbed to their injuries after being at the hospital, and there is 3 additional victims at the hospital that all are in critical condition at this time. It appears that this was a targeted event, that it may be a family dispute. We cannot release the names of the victims because obviously we want to speak to the family, make sure that the family is well aware of what happened before we release that information publicly. We had assistance from multiple police departments that came in to assist, to offer their assistance. Obviously the Attorney General is also there with us now going over the crime scene. We had several people in the building, so we are talking to them. So we're trying to put together the story and the timeline of what happened.
Did this happen in the stands? Can you just describe the layout in there and where this all took place?
So because we're in the initial stages of the investigation, I can't get into detail. Obviously, we're still investigating that. We're talking to all the witnesses. Like I said, there were several people within the Lynch Arena because it was a high school hockey game. So we're talking to all those witnesses. We have several witnesses that were here and then some that we have brought to the police station where we're talking to them there. We also were able to take everybody inside the building and we reunified them with their families down by Walgreens. We used Ritter buses to be able to reunite those kids and people in the stands with their families.
Was the shooter related to the other victims? You said a family dispute.
Yes, so because it's a family dispute, I don't know the relationship exactly at this point because it's still initial, but yes, it is family related.
Are you releasing any other information about the other victims, ones in critical, juvenile, adults, any other?
Not at this time until we speak to the families and we get more information.
But the mayor said it was a young girl. Is that correct or not correct?
It was a female, is what we know.
Just a female's all you're saying, no age?
Yeah, no age, we don't know.
Chief, dedicated from NBC 10, can you confirm that the victim is actually the daughter of the suspect?
Okay, so I'm not going to confirm who actually is the casualties at this point because, again, we want to speak to the families and make sure the families are well aware of what happened before we release any information. Again, we're still only at the initial stages. It only happened at 2:30 this afternoon. Again, we went in, like I said, there were several people in there. We have several witnesses that are at the station, so we're going to put it together a story before we release information to make sure that the information's put out there is accurate and correct and there's nobody.
Chief, the 4 victims were hospitalized. Were they hospitalized because they may have been trampled or pushed down, but they actually were not shot?
No, so we have 3 deceased victims, right? We have 3 deceased. The suspect, and then we have 2 victims. And then we have 3 at the hospital that were part of the incident that, no, they were not trampled, that they were shot. Yes.
Was the suspect shot by police or was it self-inflicted?
I'm sorry. There's multiple people.
Oh, good.
So what I can say right now is that that's the information that we're going to put out. We're going to obviously probably have more information as the day progresses. Again, we want to speak to all the people that were witnesses so that we can get an accurate story to put out there. I can tell you that we're probably going to have another press release tomorrow, right? We have a lot of people that we want to talk to today. We want to make sure that we get accurate statements. We want to make sure we put it together. We want to make sure we speak to the families. And again, we have to go to the hospital also. And if we can speak to those victims at the hospital, we obviously want to make sure that we do that also. So that's the information I'm going to give you for right now. And then again, I will give you more information as we get it. But I'm not... So, again, what I can say is that, no, the police were not involved. What I can say that, again, we're putting all the pieces together. It appears from a self-inflicted gun wound, but we are going to investigate that fully. The police were not involved in that.
Is there, so there's a suspect who is dead, and there are 2 victims, or those teen victims?
Well, I'm not releasing their ages, but it appears that they're both adults.
Are they both related to the suspect?
Again, I'm trying to...
No,
That's okay.
I
know,
mean,
and I want to make sure that with the information we're putting out there, because again, they're family members at home, we want to make sure that we speak to them first before they hear it on the news or in the media. It is very important for us to make contact with the families and get an accurate depiction of what the family dynamics look like so that we can be able to put it out there accurately.
Is there any way that you could do another press briefing later tonight? Because otherwise information gets kind of squabbled. That way,
no, we're going to try, right? Okay. Like I said, we're following the police investigation, right? Right now it's about the families, right? There were multiple families involved. This was, high school children, so our hearts go out to the families. And we'll give you as munt information we can. We know it's important to get it out there, but they want to get it out there accurate so there's no misinformation.
Mayor, are you able to speak to that, just the trauma these people suffered today?
I mean, I haven't seen anybody. I can't imagine. I'm watching some people as they're getting put on buses. So, sorry. There has to be traumatic, right, to everybody. I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody. We're trying to piece it together. They're all being shipped out to have conversations with to keep the investigation going. And we're dealing with the families. We have a lot of our services, family services, the Nonviolence Institute, a lot of our partners. They're all in there. They're doing grief counseling, so we're working close with them as well.
What are some of your concerns when you hear about a shooting inside an arena like this with so many young people?
Of course, when you get the call, you think it's the worst thing, right? And I mean, it's very serious. Having said it, this was an isolated incident in some ways. It's tragic. And you think about that, right? The family, all the resources. We have men and women out there, so your mind goes in all different directions.
Were any of the players on the ice targeted or hurt in any way?
I don't know that. I know they were on the ice, but I don't know if any of them were on the ice.
But here it was in the stands.
Chief, from that.
Clear that it was also live streamed so that other people may have seen this on
That's what they're piecing together. We're getting through the investigation. Yes.
You say that it's an isolated incident, but it's been just 2 months since that tragic shooting on the campus of Rhode University. Can you speak to how traumatic it might be for the people in this community to be experiencing 2 mass shootings within such a short span of time?
I mean, the fortunate thing is they're not related, but it is very tragic, right? You're thinking about these are high school kids that were doing an event. They were playing, with their families watching, fun time, and it turned into this. So it's got to be traumatic.
So again, I understand that there's live stream out there. It's in the initial stages of the investigation. So if there are witnesses or people that stepped in, we're going to leave that information. Will be confidential until we speak to them. But at this point, what I can tell you is that there were several people in there at the time. Again, I'm trying to see him over it, and it's a little difficult. You guys have it a little higher, but okay. So obviously there were people inside, so I can say that people did assist. But as to the level of the assistance, again, we want to speak.
Okay. So.
Did hear the headline, which was effectively at this shooting at this Rhode Island hockey rink during a high school game.
Yeah. So this does, I think, bring us up to date with the information that I had leading into tonight's broadcast, which is that 3 people are dead, which is reflected in the thumbnail and the title for the live streams going out on all Maverick News channels tonight. 3 people are dead. 2 it appears from what she said, adult victims, and the third person, the third death is the shooter from what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. That information coming from officials at the scene. So stay with me. We'll come back and we'll keep going with this live coverage of this shooting in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, where 3 people are reported killed, and the shooter went, I think, from a residence where a family dispute had taken place, and then went to a hockey arena and opened fire there. We'll have video when we come back on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so I should say, the viewer discretion advised all through this broadcast, because I'm not sure exactly what these videos and live streams will show us as we present them here through the evening. And we will touch on today's other top stories. But we do have footage from inside the arena where the shooter did open fire, and you can hear the shots in this video, which we have obtained online. And this is what it was like then. Again, viewer discretion advised. Nobody actually shot here, but you do, as far as I know, nobody actually shot here, but you do hear the shots ring out. And then you see the reaction from the players and the parents and spectators in the stands. Very scary for the families, the victims' families, for the parents at this hockey game in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. So again, we know that 2 people were killed, 3 others injured, then a third person, the shooter, also dead. So 3 people dead in total. It took place at the Dennis M. Lynch Arena in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, where there is a huge police presence still. The entrance to the area taped off with police tape. And the governor of Rhode Island, Dan McKee, says that he's praying for Rhode Island, and he says the state is grieving again. He says, as a governor, a parent, and a former coach, my heart breaks for the victims' families, students, and everyone impacted by the devastating shooting at Lynch Arena in Pawtucket. He expressed his gratitude for the first responders who arrived on the scene quickly, he said. And he said, quote, I am deeply grateful for the first responders, hospital staff, mental health workers, RIPTA drivers, and all those who responded quickly and bravely. And he is urging anyone who needs support following this tragedy to call 988, which will get you straight to somebody who can address your needs tonight. Coverage, of course, live here, and many media outlets across the United States covering this tonight. As we await more details, we just got you the latest from the most recent news conference, where officials are being cautious in the way that they release information, putting the interests of the victims' families and the families affected by this first. That is their paramount concern right now. And so they're being very careful about what they are saying. We don't have a name yet of a shooter. And I think that it's a moment, honestly, for Canadians to reflect on some of the criticisms that have been leveled at police in Canada in that small town out in British Columbia, where we just had that shooting at the school. And what I'm seeing unfold here right now with officials, investigators, it reflects very much a similar kind of approach to the way that any incident like this is handled and should be handled, where information comes out in an appropriate amount of time so that the investigation can be handled thoroughly and accurately, so that information that is shared publicly is accurate and does not breach ethical standards. We can show you some aerial footage shot just a short time after the incident unfolded at the arena. Let me bring this tab over here so I can share this with you tonight. And here we go. I'll bring the audio down. So you see one of the players there in an area outside the actual arena. And what we shared with you there was some of the first footage released. And we have also this footage also shared tonight with us online. And this is someone who shot footage on a cell phone and then shot the cell phone with a cell phone, but it also gives you footage from inside the arena. Let's go to this shot here.
That's PJ.
We'll go back to the aerial footage. So really, even now, after, I'm not sure what time this happened. It was this afternoon. So this is several hours ago. And really, details still thin at this point as we await for names of the victims, the name of the shooter, which we still don't have. I do have this clip from WPRI television. I'll share this with you. And this was just one of their most recent reports. We'll go to that now. Here we go.
Inside the arena, we hear roughly 14 shots that rang out during that shooting.
And those 3 victims at the hospital are in critical condition. Our Lauren Brill has been at the hospital since those ambulances were first arriving. Lauren?
Yeah, that's right. We're right outside of the emergency room entrance. Now, things have calmed down out here, but earlier we saw that ambulance. Take a look at this video from earlier this evening. We saw a Pawtucket rescue with its lights flashing right outside here. Now, Rhode Island Hospital is where the Level 1 Trauma Center is located. Officials here have told us they received all 4 patients. As we've said, 1 patient has died and 3 are in critical condition tonight. Now, one thing police noted in that press conference earlier is that they do want to talk to the surviving victims to help piece together what happened. Now, we have seen Pawtucket police in the area here tonight, as well as Rhode Island State Police. We'll continue to monitor this situation and bring you the latest updates as we learn them. Again, we don't know the names of those victims yet and any update on their condition. Again, all we know is that they are in critical condition. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Lauren, thank you. And after this initial response, we can expect investigators to remain at the ice rink for some time as they collect evidence. Kate Wilkinson joins us now live in studio with more. Kate?
Hey guys, I was speaking with law enforcement analyst Stephen O'Donnell. Now, while police say that the suspect is dead, they still have to collect all that evidence to figure out exactly what happened here. Now, O'Donnell tells me that takes time, and it's something that we saw with the Brown University shooting.
They're going to have to check everything from ballistics to forensics to make sure they get everything, all the facts accurate. And then making sure they're talking to witnesses, because many of the witnesses probably fled, and then bring them back and find out what they know.
He said that they will also be looking at the suspect and the victim's backgrounds. An important question they'll have to figure out is how the suspect got a weapon and if they were allowed to get one. To you guys.
Okay. So well, let's just go back to the aerial footage. And this was from several hours ago now. This was right after the shots were fired inside the arena in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Now, I've been looking up digging in to get some information here. Looking at what's been going on like over the past month in the United States with shootings of this kind. Mass shootings involving multiple victims. And we have just over about the past month or so, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 shootings involving multiple victims over about the past month. There was one February 9th in Auburn, Washington. Multiple victims. We had one February 10th. Another multiple victim shooting February 12th in Hammond, Louisiana. One person killed, 3 injured. February 14th. 1 killed, 3 injured. Mobile, Alabama. Nobody killed, but there were 7 people shot and injured seriously. February 15th, just yesterday, in Orlando, Florida. 4 people shot and injured. Nobody killed in that incident. Another one yesterday in Charlotte, North Carolina. Nobody killed, but 4 people injured. Another one yesterday in Kansas City, Missouri. 2 killed, 2 injured. Another one yesterday in Cincinnati. 2 people killed, 2 injured. And then this one today. So, yeah, I'm trying to keep, my focus on what's happening here tonight, but this highlights, and that's actually just over the past few days in the United States, the number of shootings that have taken place. And I think there have been more over the past month. I'll try to get you more accurate stats before we close out tonight's broadcast. It is something I've been, thinking about, wondering about with regard to what happened out in BC over the past week or so. And why did that one get so much attention versus all of these other shootings? And it's because, well, it's for a variety of reasons. It's because it's less common, much less common in small towns in Canada. Certainly a small town in that area of British Columbia where no one really would have expected something like that. So it was the rarity that made it so of such interest, not just to people in the area, but internationally. And also you've seen people, as in any incident like this, there are those who use it for political purposes and their own political agendas. So in this case, we're hearing that it's a domestic incident of some kind. So whenever I've covered something like this at one level or another, maybe whether it's local, state, provincial, federal, national, international level, depending on how much attention it gets in the media, people will use an incident like this to highlight domestic violence issues in the realm of sexual politics, and then of course inevitably, especially in the United States, the whole gun rights debate surfaces over and over and over again with all of these kinds of incidents. And you see somebody being loaded into an ambulance right there. And then out in BC, of course, you have all the politics swirling around that too. And that is all undeniable. And the timing, I think, is a factor out in BC as well. And the criticisms leveled at police, investigators, politicians, all of the politics surrounding it, and the transgender issue, all boiling over. And here in Rhode Island, we'll see what happens. We'll see what information comes out about the shooter, the victims. We'll see what the people on the scene have to say. I think we will get testimony from eyewitnesses, even maybe through the broadcast tonight in real time or close to real time, maybe some live coverage as well. But what we'll do now is we'll dip out of this feed, dip out of this coverage, and push ahead with a look at some of today's other top stories. So stay with me. We're going to shift gears and come back to this if warranted through the broadcast. Stay with me.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity, the Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day. Custom shelves for your books or your tech. Cozy space for your treasures to protect. Built-in power when you need to recharge. Smart design that makes your bedroom feel large. Turn Easy Bed, spin your world around. Storage made simple, the best you found. Shelves your way, keep the mess away. Charge it, store it, night or day.
Designed and developed by Brightleaf Innovations, proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea and exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
So many other stories to touch on tonight. I'll try to get to as much as we can, as much as time will allow. But something that I wish we had been able to talk about in previous evenings was the trip to the Munich Security Conference with Marco Rubio and the speech that he gave there. It's being described in various ways, even though he received a standing ovation after delivering the speech. He was, I don't know if criticized is the right word. It was the assessment or the review of his speech from other world leaders and even others who stood and applauded him. The reviews were sort of mixed after Rubio's speech. So we're going to bring you a little bit of that. And then after his speech in Munich, he skipped a meeting with Zelensky and flew to Hungary to meet with Viktor Orban, where they had a pretty cozy meeting, very friendly. And the message that I took away from Rubio's speech in Munich was that the United States, it was pretty much the Trump message delivered by J.D. Vance a year ago, repeated, but with much more diplomatic language. And so it was all wrapped up in a message that pretty much said, you're either with us or against us, and we want to work with Europe, but it has to be our way or the highway. And I also got another layer of messaging from it, and that is that if Rubio was actually in charge, I think the approach to geopolitics would be somewhat different. But because Trump is in charge and he's part of this MAGA-centric populist administration, he is bound by the objectives and goals of the Trump administration and those who are really directing the ship. And while he has some, strangely, he highlighted the multicultural roots and realities and reality of the United States today, talking about the United States creation and how the people who created the U.S. all came from European countries with various languages and cultures making up the U.S. But anyway,
market share in the economies of the global South. Together, we can not only take back control of our own industries and supply chains, we can prosper in the areas that will define the 21st century. But we must also gain control of our national borders. Controlling who and how many people enter our countries, this is not an expression of xenophobia. It is not hate. It is a fundamental act of national sovereignty. And the failure to do so